Hey, good morning, everybody. Hi, Jill.
How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Pretty okay.
What's
Can't
going
complain. It's
on in
Friday.
Nashville this morning?
How is it over here? It is
Yeah.
bright and sunny and about 95 degrees.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad I'm in Chattanooga then. It's 10:30. We're just gonna wait a moment to give a few more people time
Sure.
to log on. I see we have 15 people now. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We have about 20 people with us. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Artsfield's now twice a month Zoom gatherings. We're excited to host everyone today and hope that you're having a good morning so far. I usually like to start out with a quote, so I just found this one: "Art simply can't be stopped," and it's by Anna Devere Smith, who's an actress who many of you might know from her roles on Broadway and also on TV. Today, as we kick off and let people join us, I wanted to do what we always do and just ask, what arts and culture events and activities have really been sustaining you and bringing you joy over these past few weeks. And you can feel free to put those into the chat or call them out. It's your choice.
I can contribute to that one. I've learned
Yeah.
to hand embroidery over the last couple of weeks. So I've started some new arts and crafts. I actually have it sitting next to me on my desk. So when I need a brain break, I can do a couple stitches and then get back to work.
Okay.
And
Uh,
hmm?
you have to show us what it's like when you finish, or now
Well, I
even.
can show you now. It has a
Okay.
curse word in it. So let me just cover up I have a like makeshift cardboard frame here, but
Okay.
it's a little kind of ironic
Oh, okay.
cross stitch hand embroidery here
I love
that I'm
it.
making for a friend.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. Who else? Who else has been doing some art or attending some art and culture events and activities?
So I have been scared to sing like original music, and so I have a friend of mine holding me accountable to writing and learning to record original music. So I owe him and myself actually 2 songs a month.
Okay, well, you have to share those with us next time we log on too. Awesome.
I can share.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniela. Well, I consider cuisine, an expression of arts and culture. And yesterday, my sister-in-law made me my favorite cake that is a tres leches, and it's so good. I think it's the best one that I have had so far here. So I'm very I'm so very happy.
I think we need a new rule that you can't talk about food if we can't get access to it.
I have for sure. So like if someone wants to stop by here in the afternoon, I have some.
All right,
for sure.
we might take you up on that then.
Okay.
Well, y'all, it's good to hear the things that people have been up to, and thank you for sharing. We have a lot to cover today, so our agenda is that Jill McMillan Palm, who's the Executive Director of the Arts and Business Council of Greater Nashville, is going to share with us about their legal services for artists and arts organizations statewide, and also their fiduciary program. And then Daniela, who just tempted us with the Tres Leches cake from the Trust for Public Land, is going to talk to us about their park family project, our family photo projects. And then we'll have time to open up and share anything else that's going on, any news that you have, anything that you would like to talk about. As you all know, Arts Build has been in conversations with Arts Forward a lot over the past few months about the possibility of working together on some shared services. And our organization started to explore, if you don't mind, if we can just put on mute while the presenters are talking. But we started to explore some of the opportunities to bring legal services pro bono to Chattanooga, maybe even recruit some local lawyers to volunteer for a program. And come to find out that Jill and ABC Nashville, hey, that they have a program that's statewide. And some Hamilton County artists have participated in it and gotten assistance from it. So I am going to turn it over to Jill. I'm going to pull up your slides. And if you would like, you can take it away.
All right, terrific. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I'm really grateful to be here and to be talking to you all. The Arts and Business Council of Greater Nashville is very similar to Arts Build in that we are an arts service organization in Middle Tennessee. So even though there is the Greater Nashville part of our name, we do offer a lot of services that cover the entire Middle Tennessee region and then also statewide. And so I'm going to be talking about some of those statewide programs this morning. As James said, I'm Jill Palm. I'm the executive director. Been the executive director for about 3 years now, and our organization has existed for about 14. We were founded as a couple different organizations around 2006, and they all merged in 2008 to become what we are today. So the program that James mentioned is called our Volunteer Lawyers and Professionals for the Arts program. You can go to the next slide. Well, actually, I forgot I put this slide in here first. This is our mission statement. Because we are an arts service organization, we really look at a specific lens of arts and business partnerships to make sure that artists and arts organizations can survive and thrive in their creative endeavors. So these are kind of a snapshot of the programs we do have. The ones are in orange I'm going to be talking about this morning. But we provide artist entrepreneur training programs for artists that are looking to take the next step and make a sustainable business out of their creative practice. And we do monthly education seminars for the creative community, which are now also actually online. So if you did want to keep track of our calendar and jump in on those, you're more than welcome to do so. We just did one earlier this week about how you can use consistent and clear brand messaging in order to cut through the chaos of crisis. So it was a really cool marketing and branding seminar for artists that was really practical and had a lot of takeaways for artists. So with that lens, we have a program called Volunteer Lawyers and Professionals for the Arts. You want to go to the next slide. This program has been around since our inception in 2006, and because we work with attorneys, we have about 265 attorneys on our roster all across the state, that provide free legal and business assistance to artists, arts organizations, and creative entrepreneurs of all disciplines. So I know Daniela mentioned earlier that culinary arts she considers a part of her arts and culture practice. We certainly do as well. So you have your traditional arts, dance, music, theater, visual art. We extend that out to culinary art, literary arts, fashion, graphic design in most cases. We had someone contact us about 1.5 years ago about nail art. They were doing a proprietary type of manicures and nail art and really just using nails as canvas, which was really cool. And we were really excited that we got to help them out. So whatever discipline you may be in, we can help you protect your work with intellectual property, copyright, trademark, all of those things. If you're a freelancer and you're working with another organization and they hand you a contract and you have no idea what it says, we can help you review that for you and let you know what's negotiable, what's standard, what kind of, all of that boilerplate means. We can help you draft contracts if you're doing work for hire and you need to make sure you have your freelance contracts and agreements all in a row. We can resolve some arts related disputes. We've had, singers that haven't gotten paid by venues. We've gotten artists that haven't gotten their commissions from their galleries, things like that, that we've certainly helped recoup those monies. We can also do nonprofit formation. So if there are people that are looking to start their own 501c3, we have a 50-page workbook that we have that will walk you through step-by-step of the entire process. And we'll even help you file the paperwork and draft your bylaws, draft your charter, make sure all of that's all squared away so you can just hit the ground running with your nonprofit. And recently, due to COVID-19, we've expanded a lot of our services. We really didn't look at kind of labor and employment or insurance or anything like that before, but because the CARES Act offered federal unemployment assistance to freelancers and nonprofits, we've really dug into that part of the law and are able to now help people file their unemployment claims, navigate that system. We've helped a lot of organizations navigate their PPP loans for the Paycheck Protection Program, their EIDL loans, things like that. So we did a bunch of webinars back in April, and they're still up on our YouTube page, but now that that legislation is changing, or hopefully we're getting another round of legislation for some federal relief options, we'll probably start doing some more webinars or at least have more resources on our website for those things. In addition to the legal assistance that we provide, we do have a number of business volunteers that can help for free as well. Those can include accounting and finance volunteers, helping you file your taxes, looking at 990s when it comes time for your organizations to do that. For freelancers, helping file all of your taxes, making sure your personal income is separate from your business income, setting up all of your accounts if you need help navigating that. We also have some human resources professionals that can help put together job descriptions, severance packages, other employment policies, cultural equity statements, anything you think you might need to help run your business either as an individual, a collective, or an organization. We're happy to help you draft or review those documents. We also have some strategic planning and general business consultants. I do a lot of that personally with organizations that are members of members with us or come to us through the Volunteer Lawyers Program. Just general, like, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Does it make sense? Does it fit within our mission? We're thinking about, we have a board member that's not really contributing. What do we do? We need to draft new board policies, a lot of things like that. We have some nonprofit lawyers, nonprofit strategic consultants, and then a lot of our staff is just well-versed in nonprofit issues as well. So we take on some of those consulting projects. If there's something I haven't covered in any of those topics, still reach out to us. We probably have someone on our roster that can either provide advice or get you in touch with someone that can provide advice. So that's why I put the and more at the bottom, is because we like to be a hub of connecting people to resources. So if we don't have it, we probably know someone that does. And the way in which this help happens, I have contact info on the next slide, but you can just call our office, email, follow us on social media, get in touch with us, and we can either provide help over email, over the phone, or we do have quarterly legal clinics, which are actually live 30-minute sessions with an attorney. We used to do those in person. We're doing those all by phone and video conference now, just due to everything being moved online and the state of the world right now. So with those programs, it's usually a couple week turnaround time. So just keep that in mind as you're getting in touch with us, because, you know, if you need something signed by the next day, our turnaround's usually not that quickly since we're working with volunteers. But if you have a couple week lead time, we're happy to help in that time frame, certainly. So to take advantage of the volunteer lawyers and professionals for the arts program, you do need to be a resident of Tennessee, or the one exception to that is if the issue happened in Tennessee and you've moved, you know, slightly outside the border. You know, we had a client that lives just over the border into Alabama, but he had been working with a recording studio here in Nashville. So the issue took place within the state, so it was still bound by state laws and state policies, so our attorneys were able to work on that. But if, you know, you live in Chicago and it happened in Chicago, we can refer you to another volunteer lawyer. There is actually a volunteer lawyers association in Chicago. So the issue must be arts related or pertain to your creative output. We're not, unfortunately, going to help settle any landlord-tenant disputes about your security deposit at your apartment. We can't, I'm trying to think of some of the other kind of ones we've gotten. We don't do divorces, we don't do wills, we don't do car crashes, things like the personal injury law. We don't do that, unfortunately, but it has to be related to your arts career or your creative output as an artist. We do have an income threshold for this program because it is a free legal aid program. That is $29,350 in annual gross income for individuals, and there are allowances for dependents. So if you're married, have children, there are additional dollar amounts that you add on to that total. And for arts organizations or creative businesses, it is an annual budget of under $1 million. So that's a lot of people. With that individual threshold right now, I will put a caveat on that we have waived that because we know a lot of people that wouldn't have qualified last year are now totally within the income limits because their income has been completely decimated by the COVID-19 pandemic. So again, still get in touch with us if your income is over that threshold. We are making some allowances and getting people help because we know a lot of people are suffering financial hardship right now. And if you are way over that income and you know we weren't in a global pandemic, we do have the opportunity for reduced fee or paid referrals. So we have some attorneys on our roster that will take people on a sliding scale. If they can't, you know, pay full legal fees, but they don't meet our income requirements, we can do some arrangements like that. So the way you can get in touch with us, we have a specific email for our VLPA program. It's vlpa@abcnashville.org. You can give us a call on our main line. We are working remotely right now, so just leave a callback number and the director of our VLPA program will get in touch with you. And then we are about to implement a form on our website that's just a simple intake form. And you can find more out about the program at abcnashville.org/VLPA. So that will give you some more details on the program as well. But I do want to pause. I know I just threw a lot of information out before I move on to our next program, if I can answer any questions about our legal program.
I don't have any questions, but this is a lot to take in, and I really appreciate the fact that you're here and sharing all these resources. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. And it's really interesting. We've been trying over the last couple of years to, you know, build out partnerships in Memphis and Chattanooga and Knoxville, and it'll be great. And we'll get like an influx of clients from those areas, and then it starts to peter off again. So we're trying to be more consistent about our marketing and just make sure people know that this is a resource statewide, since our attorneys are licensed in Tennessee and we have the infrastructure to do this. So we're happy to help.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I do have a question.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi. And I may have missed this, but the income cap, I know you said it's waived for now, but usually is that income cap just from your creative activities, or is it my 9-to-5 job included?
Yeah, so great question. Typically it is the 9-to-5 included.
Okay.
we base it off of your tax return that you file. We'll just ask for the W-9 or your tax return to verify that income. Again, case by case basis. If there is, a particular legal issue that deals with your creative output, and your creative output is a certain percentage of that gross annual income, and we can provide some proof of that, or, it's not a hard and fast rule. I'll put it that way. We have it in place for our, really the rule is, it's based on the HUD guidelines, the Federal Housing and Urban Development Guidelines. And it's more so for the attorneys that work with us, so they can get pro bono credit,
Gotcha.
continuing legal education credit. They have to substantiate that they're working with a certain threshold of client. So that's kind of why we do that. But in that instance, if your income is way above that threshold and it's a question we can answer in-house, either our director of legal services or someone else on our team, we're happy to help you answer that question, and it may not even need to go to a volunteer attorney.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
I have a question. My name is Jody Harris. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jody. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. You mentioned briefly about intellectual property and helping artists and creators with that. My question is, what's the difference between that and copyright? And the reason I ask that question is because I've had cases where I did work for a business, and then another business actually came and shot a video in front of the art that I used. And I felt as an artist that I still had some say-so if that other business could come and use my art and their video to promote their company. But the company that I did the art for didn't know what to do, and then I didn't know what to do. So would that fall under intellectual property and copyright? And then how can y'all help with that?
Yeah, great
How can y'all
question.
help with those kind of situations?
Yes, we get those all of the time. Nashville is mural city. Like, we have murals everywhere. We have artists that are, there's one right down the street from my house that people film in front of all the time. We get so many of those cases. So to answer the first part of your question, and I'm not an attorney, so I'll kind of say that with a disclaimer of, I'm just telling you what I know. This isn't substantive legal advice, but intellectual property is the type of law that copyright and trademark fall under. So copyright is a specific type of intellectual property protection. Trademark is a specific type of intellectual property protection, so on and so forth. So intellectual property is just kind of the catch-all for the type of law and the type of protection it provides. So if you did have some discomfort with the company that was filming in front of your artwork, certainly give us a call. So I don't know what we could do retroactively, but there should, if you have copyright on the work, or even if you haven't filed copyright, there still are some artist protections that are in place for public works that either that business or the person who represents you would have needed to check with you probably before they did anything for commercial use. So that would be more of a question that one of our attorneys could answer, more specifically about your work. And I'm just not equipped to handle that this morning, not knowing all of the details. But yeah, we deal with that stuff all the time.
I have a question. I'm Mark Anderson with Chattanooga Writers Guild, and in today's climate, it seems like the probability of getting sued over speech issues, either you've said something offensive to someone or restricting someone's free speech. If we don't want to publish what other people say, they can get angry about that. Or if we do publish it and it offends someone, we get in trouble for that. So do you have people on your staff that would be helpful in those situations?
Yes, because that pertains to, if you're a literary organization, and that pertains to the creative output of your, if you're publishing, if you're promoting the work of other authors, that certainly falls within our literary arts genre, categorization. So trying to think, that would probably, yeah, we would have some people on our roster that could help figure that out. for sure. It's definitely a complicated one. That's a more unusual one. I don't think we've dealt with too much of that recently, but I can certainly see where that would be an issue.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
I have a
And
question. Oh, sorry.
yeah, go for it.
Hey, I'm with a clay studio here in Chattanooga. And when you talk about contract reviews, so like we create contracts with our independent contractor instructors and with our members. So those are included in like what could be reviewed as what things that we're creating as an organization, not just not as an artist.
Correct. Yes.
And then with that said, how fleshed out would said contract need to be before like beginning a review process? Or are you guys available to help like kind of from start? Or do we need to send you something more fleshed out?
Yeah, we can draft a contract totally from scratch.
Okay.
So as long as you have kind of the general idea, you can't just come to us and say, hey, can I get a contract? Because we'll be like, for what? But as long as you have the kind of goal in mind, we're happy to help you work through that. We do have some template like work for hire contracts or membership contracts that people can use. Or, you can always like Google those things, but we really caution against using like template contracts online. Just if you're not kind of well versed in what it actually means, it can actually get you in more trouble if you don't work with someone up front to figure out what exactly you're asking of people. So go ahead and give us a call or email us. Either email is probably actually faster right now, just since we're all remote. But one thing I will say is that our organization is pro artist. So we typically look at contracts or any sort of negotiations or arrangements from the viewpoint of the artist. Arts organization second, and then creative business third. So that more so is in the music industry when we have managers come to us or publishing houses that are like, we want to, we have a dispute with this artist, and we say, okay, well, we'll talk to the artist because we want to work on behalf of the creative community. But that doesn't sound like that would be an issue here, since you are a clay studio and you are I'm assuming a nonprofit arts organization or even a for-profit arts organization. You would still be pro artist. So I don't think that would be an issue in drafting any sort of contracts. We would just want to make sure it's mutually beneficial for both parties.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's great.
Of course. So I know I have a limited amount of time this morning, so I do want to move on to our next program. But if you do have other questions, throw them in the chat and I will answer them. Or, I'll stick around for a couple minutes if there's time after. Absolutely. But our next program that is statewide is Fiscal Sponsorship. This is a relatively new thing in the nonprofit world, but essentially what this is, it's an incubator for the arts sector where we can take individual arts projects or collectives of artists that want to accomplish a goal and bring them under our umbrella so they can receive grants and charitable donations under our EIN number. And essentially they become a nonprofit through our status. We handle all of those donations, provide some marketing assistance, administrative structure, that consulting work, all of the access to our legal professionals, business professionals to help get these projects done or organizations off the ground without having to go through the whole process of filing for a 501c3 if you're not really sure you want to do that yet. So these are really great, or this structure is really great for one-time projects like documentary films, dance festivals that you may just be doing it once for a specific occasion and it's not going to recur every year, or projects that you think you might want to become a 501c3 but you're not really sure yet. You want to kind of test out your concept before spending the $1,000 it takes to, and all the time it takes to file your paperwork to become a 501c3. So with this, the arrangement that we have, you can apply to our organization at the website that's listed there at the bottom of the slide. And we do quarterly reviews of the applications. We have about Yes, I will post the link for the application in the chat right after I'm done talking. No problem. Great question. And so we review every quarter. So the next two upcoming are August 15th, November 15th, and then into 2021, it'll be February 15th and May 15th, second month of every quarter. And it's a simple Google form that you just let us know what your project looks like, what you're trying to accomplish, how much money you think you're going to raise, what your budget is, who's leading the project, what sort of experience you have with projects. And then it goes to a committee of our board and some community folks for review, just to make sure it aligns with our mission. Your primary activities are happening in the state of Tennessee, and it is a charitable purpose. So whether it's an education initiative, a performance initiative, I'm trying to think of the other charitable purposes off the top of my head, but it's Friday and my brain is mush. So once you apply and become a fiscally sponsored project of our organization, you retain all of your intellectual property and creative control. We don't say, yes, you can do this. No, you can't do that. We make sure that's all out of the way in the application. That's what the application's for, to make sure it does fit within our mission. And then we hold a separate bank account for you under our umbrella. So, all the money stays with us. And then when you need to spend it, you just request a check and say, here's an invoice from an artist that we're paying. Here's the invoice for our website that we're running, or a consultant that we're paying. Any expenses that you incur as a project, you just send the invoice to us. We cut a check to you, and then you pay out whatever bills you incur for the project. So all of your donors then, or your grant, if you're applying from a foundation that takes fiscally sponsored projects, some government entities will grant to fiscally sponsored projects. We manage all of those grants. You help us with the reporting just because you're in the day-to-day activities of the project, so you know how to report on those grants, but we manage them, help you file all the paperwork, and keep you on track to make sure you're meeting your goals. And then the nice thing about it is that if you're fiscally sponsored for a year, 2 years, it goes really well. We have that legal program. We can help you file all of that 501c3 paperwork. So it's kind of a nice wraparound service that we do have those legal professionals right there. We have about 17 projects under our management right now, and I think 2 of them within the last 6 months have filed for their 501c3. One has already gotten their letter, and the other is, I think, still waiting for it to come back. So it's a really great pipeline program to incubate the arts and make sure that we can thrive, especially in this increasingly crazy, chaotic fundraising environment, because there's no risk on behalf of the fiscal sponsor organization side. One thing about that is we do take a small administrative percentage of whatever funds you raise, just to maintain the bank account, marketing support, all of that other stuff that we do, staff time to manage it. 7.5% of anything you raise. Other fiscally sponsored organizations, if you heard of Fractured Atlas, which is the big national one, they take about 10 to 12%. So just kind of context, some organizations take 5, some take 12. So we try to land right there in the middle to make sure it's not so much of an administrative burden. Sister organization in the state of Georgia, I'm not sure, but I can find the answer for you about other fiscal sponsorships. If you go to, I believe the website is fiscalsponsorship.org, or if you Google fiscal sponsorship directory, there is a list of fiscal sponsors by state. Not all of them are arts related. Some of them are in different nonprofit sectors. But I think you can filter for arts organizations, or you can filter by state and see if anyone would accept the criteria for where you're at. The reason it's limited to the state of Tennessee is because that's where our charitable solicitations permit is. And so the primary activities have to happen here in the state.
I had a question, Jill. Is there a fee that you all take for doing fiscal sponsorship?
Yeah, great question, James. So it is 7.5%. There is there's an application fee. If you're not a member of our organization, it's $50 to apply. And then any money you raise, it's 7.5% of that. So for context, you want to be raising about $300 a month to make it worthwhile, is kind of the calculation. And it's not $300 every month, but if you kind of average that out over the year, if you raise you know, $2,000 in December and $2,000 in June, it makes it worth your while. So, but project budgets over about, you know, $1,500 to $2,000, you get in the black rather than in the red. You're not spending more money on fiscal sponsorship than you're raising. And then just another thing I'll say, we have projects for, like I said, documentary films, theater companies, dance festivals. We have a performing arts festival that just did something last week. We have street festivals for arts and culture. We have Nashville Made is one of our organizations. They promote locally made makers, goods, things like that. So all sorts of different stuff. And then the last thing I'll mention is, because I know I'm going over my time, we have our annual professional development conference coming up called Creative Exchange. It's a full day of keynotes, breakout sessions, networking, all that good stuff. We're taking it virtual this year. It'll be October 1st and 2nd. The nice thing about it being virtual is anyone from anywhere can join. So more details will be coming out about that. But the reason I wanted to mention it today is because we are accepting workshop proposal submissions. If you'd like to teach a breakout session, you can submit your proposal idea to us by July 31st. So you have about a week to get that in. It's also on our website, abcnashville.org /creative-exchange. That'll have the program from last year's conference on there, so you can see what the breakout topics and the keynotes were. Because it was local last year in Nashville, some of the topics were more specific to the music industry or about policy issues that were happening here in the city last year. But we're really trying to broaden it to more professional development for all artists and nonprofit arts organizations this year. So it'll be about a half day on Thursday, October 1st, and a half day on Friday, October 2nd as well. There's all of our contact information on that last slide, and I will drop the links into the chat as well. If you want to stay most up to date with our education calendars and all of our announcements, there is a box on the front page of our website. I'll also drop the link in the chat to sign up for our e-newsletter. I know we get so many emails. It's tough to ask people to sign up for another distribution list, but that's really where we send one email a week every Thursday. So it's not too much. But yeah, that's the best ways you can keep in touch with us.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, this is game-changing information for a lot of us, and I just know that people are going to be getting in touch. And I look forward to continuing, you know, to build more partnerships with ABC Nashville and connecting from Chattanooga often, for sure.
Yeah, I think we're actually on a call next week with the Tennessee Arts Commission about some education workshops. So
yeah, they've been talking about those, and I think everybody's excited. So
good.
We'll be sharing all of that information with everyone here in Chattanooga.
Terrific.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if you want to put the links in the chat, I'm going to ask Daniela to go ahead and start, and I'm going to pull up her slides. There it is. All right, Daniela, take it away. I'm not able to hear Daniela. Are y'all able to hear her? We can't hear you. You might be on mute.
What about now?
I hear you now. There's an echo though.
I have had a lot of issues with my audio. Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem.
So for the third time, I didn't try to say my name, but hi everyone. My name is Daniela Peterson. I'm with the Transfer Public Land At first, thank you so much for the space. I'm very excited to share what we're doing and very open to questions and insights. I'm kind of eager to kind of connect with all of you. Today, we're going to be talking about Friends and Family Portrait Day project. It's a long name. Basically, it was a day at the park taking pictures of family. So the next slide, please, James. So the Trust of Public Land, well, who is talking to you? I'm Daniela. I'm an immigrant woman. I'm a brown immigrant woman from Chile. Living in Chattanooga, I'm working with this environmental organization. Our work is based in land conservation, but we are different from other organizations because we believe that the conservation should happen around people and not like far away. So we normally work in urban cores, cities, and sometimes in some national parks, but work is concentrated around cities, rural areas, and kind of like where people are. And the other thing is that we don't own land. So normally when we are working a project, we fundraise and then we donate it to a city, to an organization. So I think those two things are kind of huge differences from other kind of like land protection organizations. Still is a wide environmental organization because that's the state of things. So that's say a lot, but it's changing. I'm happy to work here. Our local projects, you may be more familiar with Strangers Reach. We also have been very involved with the Riverwalk. And then at the end of this year, we're gonna be opening the South Chickamauga Greenway. So it's like 23 miles that is gonna connect Camp Jordan all the way to Riverwalk. So I'm very excited about that. That's a project that is like around 20 years in the making. And this year we're finally opening. And it's amazing to see the kind of impact that we can do with that kind of project. So the other thing, our mission is land for people. And then we're gonna kind of go to the next slide. We normally talk a lot about community and people, and we want to integrate this perspective in our work. But how do we do that? It's a lot to say, meet people where they at, but where they are, and how do you do that? And then I have been with the Trust for Public Land for over a year and a half. And I see how the organization is shifting and really trying to challenge ourselves to open up those spaces. And one of the things that we discover, and it's not new, but in our work, is kind of like to see the value of partners. So we know that when we go into a community, like we are new there, the community was there before, and the community is gonna remind there after our work is done. But people that they have in there, they're invested, is our partners, our grassroots organizations. Like one of them is Ella. I know Jasmine may be in the call. So we are working in Eastlake Park. And what we're trying to do is support what they're already doing there with our resources, but of course, we also have an agenda. So how these two things can come together and try to support, but at the same time move our mission. And the other thing, I started at the Trust of Public Land as a creative placemaker, and now I just shift an official position because I was a fellow for a year. And also to rediscover or try to open up the space for artists. We normally think the artist role is like at the end of the project, like when it's done. So now what we can put here, the mural, all these installations. But the other thing is like the artist should be valued not just for the production, also for the thinking. So how these creative skills can be applied in the project when we're thinking the projects. And to kind of be more creative in the way that we approach it. So that's kind of been my role. I have done that in some capacity. Of course, I always want to do more of that, but sometimes we are, just a regular, okay, and then we need some public art. But we are trying to balance that and kind of have more relationship with artists. So what are you doing? Someone is thinking about public space or parks. So in that perspective, so the next slide. We're going to talk about this specific project about Eastlake. So in Eastlake, we have a bigger goal. You have a park, you have sidewalks, so you have strong organizations that are working there. but I think we can increase the level of ownership of public space. So how do we do that, and who is there? So we know that East Lake has a really heavy immigrant community from Guatemala and El Salvador. So we try to integrate that in what we're doing. So this project is based in pictures, but it's inspired in a kind of South America, Central American kind of like culture and things. So one of the things, I don't know if you have been in one of those countries, but you have plazas. Plazas are the parks. And in the plazas, you always have the photographer. So when you are walking with your family, you can have a picture with a llama. Actually, I have one. When you are sitting in the llama, like sometimes they're fake or real. We didn't bring the llama, but we brought the photographer. We tried to find these kind of like knots, these encounters. We have the park. So what cultural element we can put there so people can feel more kind of like comfortable and know it's something super new. So we thought about this, bring it to the park, and we do parks, but sometimes it doesn't mean because you have a park you're going to use it. So what barriers are there that people don't feel so comfortable? So we think this is not going to solve everything, but it's going to help to people to feel more comfortable in public space. So we understand too that it's something visual that has to be clear. So the process, I work with designers. We thought about the colors, how welcoming should be the invitation, like friends and family, what we think about families, try to like be really intentional with the details, and also to like understand that it's an art to how to express this. So the next slide, please. So I'm the one in the middle. I put their names on there. So we connected with this amazing photographer and artist that she also is in the call, Brooke Greenberger. She does family portrait pictures, but we also understand the value to just not going to the community and kind of tell them what to do. Like, so we hire a community organizer to do the invitations and go around. So what we did was I told because I saw that, you know, photography can be a tool here, but I'm not a photographer, so I'm not gonna be taking pictures. And then I don't live there, so I don't know the neighbors. So how we can do that? So I think this is like a very intentional kind of elements to work with people from the neighborhoods. So we post flyers around, people could sign up, but at the end, what happened the day that we were there, but from the people that sign up, show up like just a few. We have more people that just want to take a picture and be there. So the next, and then at the end, I'm gonna some space to Ruxa. So here some of the pictures that we got that day that people were just, you know, walking, strolling on a Sunday. We are super happy with what we actually capture because we think it's a lot of value on one, see yourself smiling in a public space. I think that's so powerful. And also, the second part of this project that we are still trying to figure out how to do it is to do an exhibition with the pictures, but like 3 by 5 foot, like long, like big exhibition in a public space, so we can see them. That's the other thing, like that you see yourself, but also we need to see them, like who is using public spaces, how we can change those spaces or the stereotype of people that we think that normally use them. The next slides, please. So here are just some kind of like, you may recognize some faces. Sarah, I know that also she shared with you, that's her beautiful family. Yeah, and I just kind of put in a few of them. So this is the first part of the project. The second one will be the exhibition. We don't know when it's happening. And the third one was actually partnered with Ella with the exhibition, but we want to design a small card. As an immigrant, I always thinking how I think a lot through those lenses. So I know that my family gets really excited when I send a picture where I'm living, where I'm walking around. So the third part of this is a postcard with the family on the top, kind of like, you know, sharing the space with people that are not living here. But that principle applies not just to immigrants' families, it applies to everyone. If you have a friend out of state, other city, or maybe other neighborhood that you want to share your space, so we think with just that, you are taking more pride in where you're living. And we also saw this as a pilot. So we hope that I'm still trying to, I think we can make it work in COVID times. So we may have one in the fall in another neighborhood with this kind of approach. And I'm gonna, maybe Brooke want to share a little bit how was the experience. You know, we are an environmental organization, so work with artists is also new for us as kind of like, so sometimes I take my position like a sandwich between the organization and the artist, like kind of like the mediator. So Brooke, are you there? Or?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Brooke Breger, and I am a family documentary photographer. So I do anything from kind of more photojournalistic family photographs. I'm pivoting a little bit into birth photography, and Daniela approached me with this project, and it was something that I was really excited to get involved with. So this was definitely her brainchild. But yeah, the process was really kind of interesting. Like, as Danielle said, it started out a little bit slow in the morning with the appointments and whatnot. But as the day progressed and as the day got sunnier, a lot of the neighbors came out, and it kind of started snowballing. And we had a lot of variety and different families kind of getting excited about doing this. And I was really jazzed to kind of get to know a lot of the neighbors, and I was really happy with the result of the images. There was a lot of pride and joy in the East Lake Park, and it's a really beautiful space as well. So it was something that I was really happy to be involved with.
How many photographs did you end up with in the project?
I want to say that we ended up shooting, sorry if you can hear my child in the background, 40 different families. I think that's accurate.
Yeah, it's close to 40 or 40. What happened, because the understanding of family was so open, so sometimes like a big group came in and actually was like 3 nuclear families. So we photographed the big family, and then we have like, you know, we broke up the big group smaller.
Did the participants that you photographed, did they get copies of their photos as well?
Yeah, so the process was like take the picture, then meet them as big event that Ella does one time per year, like book fiesta. So they were going to see themselves in big, and also they were going to get 2 copies plus the postcard, but that got canceled. So we have to go online with the kind of gallery, and then we print the pictures. We didn't ask for the addresses, learning. Normally I don't like to ask because people get a little uneasy about it, but this time we needed. So I was able to mail some of them, not all of them, but some of them are getting, and then some people recognize me in the street. It happened to me like at least once, like, and I was like, have your picture. And so we kind of reconnect in that way.
That's very special. It's a way for them to get their family all together and a document for themselves as well. You know, I don't know how many families still do full family portraits like that. So I think that's very special as well.
Yeah. And Anna Carr, that's a great idea, because we were trying to figure out how to do it. And I think that's a very affordable way to do it. So thank you for the idea. And we want to let you know if we do it.
Well, any other questions? What a beautiful project, and thank you for sharing it with us.
No, James, I'm just kind of happy to share, and I would love to keep in touch. If someone wants to explore or talk more ideas about parks, public space, I would love just to hear or what people are thinking.
Will you put your email address in the chat so that people can reach out to you?
Yeah, and then next is a one more, I think one,
Oh,
yeah. It's,
oh, there it is.
yeah, it's my dog, so I need to.
I love it. Thank y'all.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
So we have a few minutes left. Would anyone like to share any announcements, any projects that are coming up, any things that you have going on?
I would. I would first. I would like to give a shout out and big ups to you and Artsville, James, and Art Forward. Art Forward has been a blessing for us. We've been doing one of the things we've been keeping afloat with is a camp, virtual camp. This summer we've had an awesome response. The kids have really enjoyed it, and the parents have really enjoyed it. And Arts Forward was a big process in that, in helping us and getting that going. So Dawn and the whole gang there, that has been awesome. We've been doing other classes with the Chattery along, these past couple of months during quarantine and this pandemic, which has been helpful as far as keeping our name relevant and giving us something to do creatively. Along with a couple of live streams we did here at the gallery for some local musicians. That's pretty much what we've been doing. We got a couple of other projects that are in the mix that we hope come to fruition. But other than that, we're just keeping going with the classes, trying to do some fall classes. Since people will be at home, maybe students will still be at home and they need supplements for art and music. So we're going to try and get into that avenue. And that's pretty much what we've been doing. So thank you again, Artsville, James, and Arts Forward for y'all's help. It is immensely appreciated, and we're very grateful to have y'all. And hey, everybody else.
Hi, I would like to share something. Just pretty much thanking you, James and Archbill, for everything that you guys do. I just released an album, and I'm actually looking for some help with promotion and things of that nature. Some of you might know I'm a jazz saxophonist and a producer. So just wanted to make an announcement that my album can be found on herenow.com and then my name. I've also included it in the chat, just a link. So yeah, I just wanted to announce that, and that's all I got.
Thank you. I'm going to click on the link and listen to it.
I'm going to check it out too, Trinity. So my name is Jasmine Lachey. I also want to say thank you all. This information was amazing. And thanks to Arts Build, I held a concert last year, tribute to Aretha Franklin, with the organization I started, Legends of Soul Chattanooga. And so my announcement is, Lord willing, COVID allows, I will have another a tribute to a Legend of Soul next year. Jody was a part of that. Trinity was a part of that. People on this call. So that's really cool. And I would like to connect with Jill in regard to doing some things with that. And trying to think, is there anything else? Not at the present time, but thank you guys.
That was really fun. That tribute to Aretha Franklin, and it was so fun, and I definitely would love to join you again. And thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure.
Anything else? We have a couple of minutes left.
I just want to let folks know that over at Barking Legs, we are allowing for small events.
I've heard about it.
Hello?
Yeah, someone was talking in the background. Sorry, but yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
So we are open for small, socially distanced and mask required events in our backyard. We had one last night with Ben Van Winkle that went off really well. We were able to pay him a good amount for a one-off performance. So we'd like to offer that opportunity to other artists out there who are able to perform like solo, or if they're already quarantining with a small group. We invite them into our place. We're also set up for online for ticketed streaming events. If anyone wants to present an event from our stage to stream out and have ticket sales to help generate some revenue for them as an artist, we will work with folks on that. We're moving along, and we actually have some events coming up on Monday. I have Sherry Cothran doing a live stream album release from the theater, and on August 1st, I actually got a presentation from an artist in Nashville who is doing a one-woman show that we're going to be sharing as well. So we're keeping things moving, and we are more than welcome to share ideas and brainstorm with any performing artists who are looking for an outlet and a way to still with their audiences and make a little bit of money.
Well, y'all, I had to go back to the quotation about the arts can't be stopped, because as you all made the announcements, that's really what it reminded me of. And I want to thank you all. You don't have to thank us. This is what Arts Build is supposed to be doing. So that's why we continue to do it. I do want to thank Jill and Daniela and Brooke for sharing with us today. And also, we will upload this to our YouTube page and also share the chat with everyone.
Next Friday.
So I think somebody's still talking in the background, but thank you all. Have a great weekend, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.